Welcome back to another video, man. We're watching serial killers who are probably still on the loose today. It's your boy CUAUHTMOC Kwokdemok. Let's get to it.
Truck driver stopped near a vending machine in Fukuyama, Japan.
Okay,
He
let's
was
see.
exhausted from work and was looking for an energy drink to help him power through the rest of the day. When he approached the vending machine, however, he noticed something surprising. A bottle of Oranaminsi energy drink was already in the pickup tray. Thinking he'd lucked down on a free drink, the truck driver wasted no time chugging it down.
He got drugged.
What he didn't know was that this would be the last drink he would ever taste.
No.
Instead of the refreshing feeling he was looking for, he felt something horribly wrong with his body. A bitter, burning sensation quickly spread throughout his throat, followed by an intense wave of nausea. It wasn't long before he was lying on the road in excruciating pain. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors discovered a lethal amount of paraquat dichloride in his system.
What the fuck?
Paraquat is an herbicide that was quite common in Japan at the time. More importantly,
got
it's also
drugged?
highly toxic to humans. When ingested, it can lead to severe nausea, throat inflammation, internal chemical burns, and eventually death.
Bro, that's
This
fucking
is also why it's been
outrageous.
banned completely from over 70 countries to date. Unfortunately, despite knowing the reason for his illness, there was nothing the doctors could do to save his life. There's no antidote for the deadly chemical today, let alone back then. So, after hanging on to his life for a month, the truck driver passed away on the 30th of May, 1985.
Wow, bro, that's fucking
At first,
crazy.
investigators assumed that given the nature of his work, he might have accidentally encountered the toxic substance while on duty. However, after reviewing his haul records, they found no trace of this herbicide.
How would that be
or
on
anything remotely
duty?
linked to it. This left them with only one conclusion. The chemical was mixed into the drink he consumed just moments before collapsing in agony. But with no leads or concrete evidence, they couldn't determine whether it was a murder or self-inflicted act, resulting in the case getting shelved for the time being. Now, while this might sound absurd today, you have to understand that paraquat was readily available in the country at the time. You didn't need any prescription or identification.
Yeah, that's
to
crazy,
purchase the
huh?
chemical, leading to
To
over
imagine, now,
1,400 people.
to be fair, why would you even drink that, bro? If something was there free, I wouldn't drink it ever. I'm like, what the fuck, get away from me. I wouldn't drink something, whatever, that's just me though.
Using it as the poison of their choice in 1984 alone. In other words, the possibility of it being self-inflicted was just as high.
For real.
However, just as the investigators were about to give up on this case completely, they received tragic news. Another person had fallen victim to them
Agreed.
2 weeks after that. By this point, it
Agreed.
was clear that someone was deliberately poisoning vending machine drinks across Japan. This was the work
That
of
is
a
scary,
deranged
though.
serial killer.
So do I.
Unfortunately,
It's
this
always
supposed
ice.
killer
I
was
usually drink water, but so do I.
He didn't leave any fingerprint or DNA evidence on the drinks he tampered with, and only targeted vending machines with no CCTV cameras nearby. As for why his victims willingly drank the unknowingly poisoned drinks he left behind, that had to do with the buy one get one free promotion Oranaminsi was running around the time to entice younger consumers. However, since some people only wanted the one drink, they often left the second free drink near the vending machine as a gift for the next person. This was common enough that people didn't find the lace.
Well, wouldn't that be someone who works with the company probably knows that, huh? Like, hey, that's right? Or who drinks it a lot?
Drinks suspicious and drank them without a second thought. Sadly, this method was terribly effective. By the end of the year, this mysterious vending machine killer had claimed the lives of 12 victims and had severely injured 35 more. But as I mentioned,
Wait. This guy got away with killing 12 people and injuring 35 of them by putting a poisonous drink, and they just, oh my
earlier,
god.
this killer was a master of hiding his tracks.
That's
He
crazy.
operated all across western and central Japan, as well as Tokyo, making
That's
it near
crazy.
impossible for investigators to pinpoint his location. The lack of evidence also made it difficult to figure out his motive. Some speculated that he was doing all this to extort money from Otsuka Pharmaceutical, the company that made Oranaminsi. This is because in 1984, a group called the Mystery Men with 21 Faces threatened to poison food products unless the companies paid them money.
Wow.
So some believed that the vending machine killer was a copycat and wanted something similar. However, this theory
That's
didn't last very
terrifying,
long
bro.
because Otsuka Pharmaceutical didn't receive any demands or extortion letters from the perpetrator. Additionally, the killer also began using other drinks, like the drink Real Gold and even Coca-Cola. Hiroki Iwao, a Tokyo professor of criminal sociology, proposed a more disturbing theory regarding the killer's motives.
No way.
He stated, It is not uncommon for Japanese who live under tremendous pressure, both on the job and in overcrowded communities, to let out their frustrations by hurting someone else. The person responsible may even wait around to see who buys the poisoned drink. He or she may find this is a kind of exhilarating release from the tensions of life in Japan.
Wow.
But even
And I
if
kind
this
of believe
was
that
the
too, by the
truth,
way.
it still
That's
didn't bring investigators
crazy.
any closer
But I
to
believe that
catching the
though.
suspect. Left with no other
But I
options,
believe
the
that though.
authorities turned to the
100% I
public
believe
and
that.
launched a nationwide
That's
campaign
crazy,
on
but I
the
believe that.
27th of September.
Because
They placed
because they're so stressed. They want some type of they want to feel something, bro.
signs
I
and
believe that.
distributed
I believe
leaflets
that.
telling people to avoid suspicious free drinks and to properly inspect the cap seals on their beverages before consumption. They also instructed vending machine owners to investigate their stock for any anomalies and told chemical shops to monitor their customers more closely. It's unclear how effective this campaign was, as the number of victims kept increasing even after its launch.
Wait, what?
But then something unexpected happened. On the 17th of November, the murder spree stopped completely after the death of a 17-year-old girl. She was the only female to have died from the poisoning. It's possible that the person who committed these atrocities had a moral code against harming women, though that's nothing more than a baseless speculation. Due to the complete lack of evidence, the vending machine killer was never identified, cementing this case as one of the most chilling, unsolved mysteries in Japanese history.
Could you use up to $800?
Bro.
Find it at BioLife.
Bro, that's
Up to $800
crazy.
is waiting for you. Just
Little Rock serial
He only wanted to kill men, basically. Bro, this guy killed 22 people, 35 injured, never got caught. He would switch the drinks out in the vending machines, and people would drink. Bro, first of all, why would you drink free drinks, bro? And he never got caught, Bio. Never got caught. These are people, serial killers, that are still on the loose today. That is absolutely outrageous, dude. Yeah, so basically, right? Me neither, bro. We all agree that us either. How you doing, guys? This is a good video.
On April
Good looking, Leo. Good looking, Leo.
2021, the Little Rock Police Department received a distress call from South Pulaski Street regarding a potential homicide. When they arrived at the scene, they found a middle-aged woman lying on the street with stab wounds all over her body. This woman turned out to be 41-year-old Deborah Walker. She was homeless at the time and was living on the streets when this
Homeless?
incident happened. She was quickly taken to the hospital where medical staff discovered that she had been stabbed at least 15 times.
What?
Despite lying on the street, bleeding for what may have been hours, she miraculously survived and managed to regain consciousness the same day. Investigators also visited her in the hospital to gather any information she could provide about her attacker. Unfortunately, she was attacked somewhere between 1 and 4 a.m. It was still dark outside, and all that she saw was that her attacker was a tall, African-American male with a slender build. Now, in most other similar cases, such limited information would hardly be enough to generate any leads. But
You're right,
in this
you're kidding.
instance,
Yeah, 100%, bro.
the description Deborah
You're a
provided
pussy.
left the investigators
You're a
in
pussy,
disbelief.
bro. Because
That's
you know those
because her
people kind of
attacker
have
fell
nothing to
closer
back on stuff on. You know what I mean?
of another
100%.
incident that took place about 8 months earlier in the surrounding area. The victim of that incident was 64-year-old Larry Eugene McChristian. He was living in Little Rock with his daughter
man.
Sarah, who was on probation at the time. On the 20th of August,
That's so sad,
2020,
brother.
he had a medical emergency and was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was discharged from the hospital the next morning. However, when the hospital staff tried to contact Sarah so she could pick him up, she wasn't answering her phone. So they gave Larry the information about a nearby homeless shelter and a bus token to get there.
That is guys. They attack them because they have no empathy. 100,000,000%. You gotta understand that that's what most things are now, bro. That's the sad truth. I think most people attack other people, murder, because no empathy in life, bro. They need something to excite them, and that's what they get from this. 100%. Don't get it fucked up. That's 100% what they get from this. The lack of empathy, but the need for excitement.
Later that day,
Not a good
Sarah
mix.
came to the hospital looking for her father,
R.I.P.
only to
man.
learn that he'd been discharged hours ago. She then reached out to the homeless facility Larry was told about, but they didn't know anything about his whereabouts either. The only option she had was to file a missing persons report and wait for the police to find Larry. 2 days later, on the 24th of August, Sarah received the call she was waiting for. Tragically, it wasn't the news she had hoped for.
Oh, man.
According to the official report, the Little Rock Police Department found Larry's body on South Gaines Street at around 2 a.m. They identified him by the hospital discharge papers he had.
Facts. Easy victim, really reported missing.
He had
Facts.
multiple stab
Facts.
wounds on his body and was unfortunately already dead by the time the police arrived.
That's 3
His
people
death
already.
was declared a homicide, and the investigators began looking for clues almost immediately. This proved quite impossible at first, since there were no witnesses, and there wasn't anything that could be used as evidence at the crime scene. However, after inspecting the surrounding houses, they had a major breakthrough. The CCTV camera outside a nearby
Whoa,
house
look at
had
that,
captured
bro.
the
That's how
suspect
scary that
walking
is.
down the street, when suddenly he spots Larry and begins walking towards him. After committing the crime, he tries leaving the area, only to stop, go back, and stab Larry one last time before fleeing. As mentioned earlier, this man matched
That is sick, brother. He went back to stab him again. Look how that's crazy.
the profile Deborah gave to the police, leading investigators to believe she was attacked by the same person. While looking into older cases, they also connected the same killer to another murder that happened in the area on September 23, 2020. The victim of this incident was 62-year-old Jeff Welch, another homeless man who was living in an abandoned home.
What?
On the morning of that day, Jeff's friend found him on the porch of his house with a stab wound on his neck. By this point, the investigators knew they were dealing with a deranged serial killer. However, just as they uncovered the connection between the three attacks,
Yeah, this guy is just picking on homeless people who are. I hate saying this, but it's one of my biggest fears. Dying in your sleep. He's seen these people who are just sleeping, and he kills them while they're sleeping. By the way, that's gnarly, bro. That's gnarly, man. That's not cool, bro. Like, think about it, gang. Man's wanted to make sure, for real. Sick human being, by the way. Sick human being. I'm getting cold, brother. Oh no. I'm getting cold. That's sick. True. I do believe that sometimes. I believe that they do test people. They do test weapons on homeless people. I do believe that.
another tragedy unfolded. On April 12, 2023,
That's
a
5
day
people.
after the attack on Deborah Walker, another one of his victims was found on the Wright Avenue overpass. The only thing in common with these 4 attacks was that they all involved homeless individuals,
Duh.
and they all happened between 1 and 4 a.m. There seemed to be
Wow.
no clear pattern on how the perpetrator selected his targets. This left the Little Rock community terrified to leave their homes, fearing they might become the next victim of the serial killer on the loose. After realizing the potential danger of this situation, LRPD began spreading awareness about the man who is now being referred to as the Little Rock Slasher. They also turned to the public to ask for any information that
Why do they need nicknames? The Little Rock Slasher, he's killing human beings. Let's give him a nickname. It's not the W. Why do we do that, bro? I've said this again. I'll say it one more time. I get it for historical references. 80s killer, 90s. I get it. But if it's someone at large, in the flesh, someone you can talk, someone you can capture, someone you can see. Well, you don't want to see, obviously. But someone who's like real. Get the hell out of here, bro. Call him by his first and last name so we know who he is, bro. Oh, you know what I mean. Obviously, we don't know his name, but why give him a cool nickname? I hated that stuff, bro. I hate it so much. Ego boost, 100% ego boost, 100%, 1,000,000%, bro. Why give him the best names too? Why? In fact, I mean, Little Rock Slasher's pretty, I guess. The Little Rock Rocker.
they could provide on the matter, and even
Better.
announced a $20,000 reward.
We also need your help. If you have seen anything suspicious or have surveillance cameras on your homes or businesses in this area, please contact us at 501.
Was never caught. The case remains a mystery to this day. Or at least that's what the official reports say. While researching this case, I came across an Arkansas-based blog called the Snarky Media Report. The authors of this blog did their own investigation into the slasher case, and what they found was shocking to say the least.
What?
Put simply, they claim to have found the true identity of the killer after talking to multiple locals and Deborah, who, according to their blog, already knew the identity of her attacker. They also uncovered many
What?
details about this supposed killer, including his criminal record,
What?
which reveals that he has already served 2 prison terms in Arkansas for felony convictions of domestic violence. Also, his history with drug abuse and how it made him very agitated and violent. The authors of this blog also claim to have contacted the alleged killer's previous landlord, who gave them this image of the perpetrator.
No, Papa, he hasn't got caught. Bro, look, see? That's what I'm saying, bro. It's sometimes it's as easy as just asking questions a little bit more. They went to the source, bro. He gave a first and last name. That's crazy. See, I like this, bro. I personally think if you want to investigate something that's closed, they should do it. I think it should be legal. Like it shouldn't be frowned upon, or most people should do it. My opinion.
Which begs the question: if they know so much about the slasher, including his legal name, why didn't they give this info to the police? That's where the case goes from creepy to bizarre, since according to them, they've already given everything they had to the relevant authorities.
What?
Despite this, the Little Rock police didn't make any progression in catching the serial killer. Snarky Media also published a video of the Little Rock mayor and police chief refusing to answer questions about the case. This seems to hint at something incredibly shady going on behind the scenes. That said, there's no way for me to confirm if the authors of the Snarky Media blog are telling the truth. For all we know, their whole investigation is made up, and this is just some random guy who has nothing to do with the 4 attacks, and it's all a ploy to make the Little Rock Police Department look bad. Most of the information they've gathered seems to check out with what's released publicly by the authorities. The only discrepancy in their investigation is the age of the suspect. Officials believe the slasher to be young, possibly in his 20s, but the authors of this blog state that the person they found was 46 years old. Unfortunately, this is where the leads end. Whether
They're gonna
Snarky
make that.
Media is
Wait,
telling
make
the
what
truth or
illegal?
not
Make what illegal, Papa? Wait, what illegal?
remains uncertain.
This is
What is certain,
crazy.
however, is that the case.
Do you think that's like his son or like his brother or something? You know, like a relative? And he's like, nah, I gotta keep him on the low skis. Let's just say it's a rap. You know what I mean? You think? That's suspicious.
Remains unsolved to this day. The Little Rock slasher is likely still out there and can continue his murder spree at any moment. Patrick McNeil went out with his friends. He spent the evening out drinking with his friends in the Dapper Dog bar in Manhattan.
Okay.
During this time, he liked
Dapper
to drink more
Dogs.
than he could
Fire.
handle, resulting in him throwing up in the bar's bathroom before leaving in a highly unstable and disoriented state. Patrick was then seen turning left onto 90th Street, heading in the direction of the East River. This was the last time anyone would see Patrick alive. Following this night out, Patrick vanished into thin air. Despite
I'm done with cold cases. Maybe not today, but I'm done doing like another day. I'm down. I like cold cases. It's cool.
extensive efforts, authorities found no leads or clues to his whereabouts. That is until April 7, 1997, when Patrick's lifeless body was found in the East River 50 days after his disappearance.
That's crazy.
Duty Sergeant of the NYPD's Special Investigation Division, Kevin Gannon, was called to the scene to assist with the body's recovery and examination. Kevin had been a seasoned detective for years, and by this point there was little that could surprise him. However, the circumstances surrounding Patrick's death disturbed him to his core. The more he looked into it, the more strange the situation became. For instance, Kevin noted that Patrick's body wasn't decomposed enough to have been floating in the river for a week, let alone the past 50 days. He also found burn marks on Patrick's body, hinting at the possibility of him being restrained prior to his death. Kevin knew that something wasn't right. Unfortunately, due to the complete lack of evidence pointing to the
That's
contrary,
crazy, isn't it?
Patrick's death was ruled as an
17
accident.
went missing from a house
Kevin
party.
kept
And
thinking
what happened?
about
They
his
just
feelings
stopped
for
looking for the
next year
motherfucker?
before coming across a case that
stopped looking for him or
reinforced
what?
his suspicions even further. On February 13, 1998, another body was found in the same stretch of water. This body was
He hears mom heard scream. That's so scared, bro. Pretty much stopped. That's so scary, man. His mom heard screams in the forest and then he went missing. Oh man, that's. And then what? 5 years later, nothing happened to it. That makes me so sad, brother.
and are identified as 22-year-old Lawrence R. Andrews, who had gone missing on New Year's Eve after celebrating the event with his friends in Times Square.
These people aren't getting
After
caught. It's
on the
crazy,
case,
by the
It
way.
didn't take long for Kevin to notice eerie similarities between the two cases, as both bodies were found within yards of each other. Both of them were also young Caucasian males and were on track to have successful careers. They both disappeared in one of the most crowded cities in
What?
the world without any trace as well.
That's crazy.
Most importantly, Kevin also found similar oddities in both cases, where the bodies were a lot less decomposed than they should have been, and there were burn marks indicating possible restraints before their death. Lawrence's case prompted Kevin to look for other similar cases across the U.S. He enlisted the help
That
of
sucks.
fellow
Aw.
detective Anthony Duarte and a criminal justice professor, Dr. Lee Gilbertson. Together, they began investigating these cases, and soon a chilling pattern began to emerge. In total, they found 45 different instances of young men dying under shockingly similar circumstances
45 instances? Surely not all 45 can be compared to this one, but 45?
as Patrick and Lawrence. Most of them went out for a night of drinking, became more intoxicated than usual, disappeared shortly after, and were later found dead in some body of water. Almost all of them were also Caucasian and on track to have a high-paying career like engineering after college. Most disturbingly, however, they also found graffiti of smiley faces near the bodies of at least a dozen different victims.
Wow.
This led to the 3 investigators creating the smiley face murder theory. According to this theory, these 45 and possibly many other deaths from the 1990s to 2010s weren't accidents in the slightest. Instead, they were murders committed by a single deranged person or an organized group of serial killers. This is the only logical explanation they could find to justify the many
Wow,
oddities
bro,
and
that's actually
similarities in these
crazy.
incidents.
No, that's
That
intense.
said, while this theory makes complete sense to some people, others aren't convinced one bit. Criminal profiler Pat Brown, for instance, called this theory ludicrous. She believes that the idea of connecting smiley faces, one of the most common graffiti symbols, with murders is just absurd, stating, "It's not an unusual symbol. If you look in any area 5 miles square,
We're
I
not
bet you
just talking about Minneapolis? Oh my god. Look, they're in Minneapolis.
find a smiley face." The FBI also completely denied this theory in a statement, reading, "The FBI has reviewed the information about the victims provided by 2 retired police detectives who have dubbed these incidents the smiley face murders and interviewed an individual who provided information to the detectives. To date, we have not developed any evidence to support links between these tragic deaths or any evidence substantiating the theory that
This is
these
a smiley
deaths
face.
are the work of
Low-key,
a serial
I can.
killer
That's
or
what I'm assuming now,
killers.
brother.
The vast
Maybe.
majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings. However, despite these setbacks, the 3 men have stuck with their theory. They're still working on finding evidence to back their observations. That said, if their hunch is correct, it would mean one of the most wicked serial killers in American history is still at large
45.
today.
Yeah, 45 people is crazy, man.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it.
As
Meet Base 44.
I-70 killer. Robin Fuldauer was a 26-year-old Indiana University graduate who was working at an Indianapolis Payless shoe
Shout out
store
Payless,
near
man.
I-70
Shout out
in
Payless.
1992.
think about it, bro. 45 people and never got caught. He's still chilling. Person's chilling. Isn't that crazy? Chilling, papa, chilling.
8th of April was supposed to be her day off. However, just as she was getting ready to relax at home, the employee who was supposed to man the counter called in sick. Left with no other options, her manager called Robin and told her to cover the shift instead. Robin
say
wasn't
no.
very happy about this
Just say
emergency
no,
shift
bro.
change, but she reluctantly agreed, arriving at the store at 10 a.m. and starting her shift as usual. Unfortunately, her day was about to get a whole lot worse. Everything seemed normal until 2 p.m. when the manager called the store for a routine.
You know what, Bio? Never's about money player. And if she's living with her parents, she is a little girl, basically, a teenager. Stay home, bruh. It's not that, no, it will never be that serious.
Check.
Never in my
To her
life.
surprise,
That's just the way
Robin
I
wasn't
think.
picking
We're
up
all
the
gonna
phone.
pass away one day, bro.
She kept trying for a
I'm
few
not gonna
minutes
work hard for
before
something
giving up
that's
and
not
calling
for
the
me.
Speedway gas station
100%.
neighboring the shoe store. One of the gas
Fuck
station
capitalism, bro.
employees, a friend of Robin's, went to the Payless store to see if she was doing okay. However, what she found inside left her confused. The store was in slight disarray, and some of the shoes were missing from the shelves. The cash register was also open, and there was no
Wow.
money in it. Most concerning of all, there were no signs of Robin anywhere. Her friend called out Robin's name, hoping she was just in the back and would respond. But when she didn't hear anything from Robin after minutes of standing in the store, she became worried and called the police at around 2:20 p.m.
Why would she call
The
out?
cops arrived within minutes and began searching the store for clues on Robin's whereabouts. And it wasn't long before they made a devastating discovery. They found Robin lying in the store's back office, covered in blood. It was already too late. During questioning, an employee from the store across the street claimed to have seen a strange man loitering around the shoe store a couple hours earlier. According to this
Couple
employee, the man
hours
sat on the
earlier?
curb for about a half hour, rifling through his bag and staring at the Payless store. They then saw the same man a few minutes later trying to hitch a ride back to Interstate 465, which was about a quarter mile from the store's location. Unfortunately, they were too far away to get a good look at the man's face. Given the money stolen from the register, and without any other leads,
That's so scary,
investigators
brother.
filed this as nothing more than a robbery gone wrong. However, they couldn't have been more wrong. Because just 3 days later, something similarly tragic happened to 23-year-old Patricia Smith and 32-year-old Patricia Makers. The two were working at a bridal shop in Wichita along I-70. The incident happened a little past their usual closing time as they were waiting for a customer who had a pickup.
No.
When they saw a man approaching the store, they assumed that it was the customer.
That's crazy.
However, this man drew a gun on the two after entering the store, took them to the back, and executed both with shots to the back of their heads. As the killer was leaving the store, he crossed paths with the actual customer the girls were waiting for. Without hesitation, he aimed his gun at the man and ordered him to head to the back of the store. But the customer defied his command and ran, narrowly escaping with his life. He later helped the police draw a sketch of the killer.
Nice.
Unfortunately, the sketch didn't provide much of a breakthrough.
He looks like a
By this
fucking
point,
murderer, by the
authorities were
way. He
certain
looks
they were
so
dealing with a
crazy.
serial killer, but despite their efforts, the killer's spree continued. By May 7th, he had taken 3 more victims in small, low-traffic stores along the I-70 highway. By the time investigators managed to compile a few more sketches, the I-70 killer stopped his quest and went into hiding. That is until 1993, when he claimed 3 more victims along I-35 in
bro.
Texas. He tried to hide his identity by changing his weapon, but the investigators were quick to notice the similarities. One of his victims, Vicky Webb, also managed to miraculously survive
Bro,
after
what?
getting shot in the neck. If he were ever caught, Vicky's testimony would have been crucial in bringing him to justice. Though the I-70 killer was never found, and the case went cold for nearly 3 decades. However, then, in 2021, investigators released CCTV footage of a murder that happened in 2001. The suspect in this footage looks strikingly similar to the I-70 killer sketches.
Wow, isn't that
potentially
crazy in
the
life?
lead they need to finally catch him.
That's
It's
crazy.
likely only a matter of time before he runs out of places to hide and is captured. But for now, he's still out there, evading police and leaving the case unresolved.
Oh, that's that
We can
guy.
only hope he doesn't take any more victims in the meantime.
No, that's definitely the guy. That's definitely the guy. Oh my god, guys, I'm kind of